Okay, so if you are in the class of 2027, you are about 16 months away from submission of college applications, of your first deadlines for college. And I know 16 months might feel like a lot of time, but it goes very quickly and it's actually not a lot of time. This is why if you are listening to this webinar and you are in the class of 2028 or even 2029, then it's also a very good time to get started on these items. So starting college in 2027, your apps are due in October of 2026. So this is a timeline a lot of parents are surprised by because they think that if the child is starting college in 2027, the apps are also due in 2027. So that's not the case. No, there's a lot that needs to happen before that. So we are now in June. Let's start off from June. So in June, you really want to establish what is your overall direction for your college application strategy. And there are a couple ways to do that. One, which very good way is to do an initial consultation, which is you sit down with a qualified counselor for an hour and go through your academic record and your extracurriculars to date. And then the other thing that you can do is a completely free quiz that we offer, and you can get some feedback there. The reason that is important to establish the strategy as early as possible is because that's your benchmark. That's where you're starting from. You can't determine how to get to a goal if you don't know where you're starting from. So you need to establish what your goals are, where you are, and then what you need to do to get to the point. You're at point A. Where do you want to go? What's the path to get there in a nutshell? And there are a couple of things that you need to focus on and think about in order to make that happen. One of the first things we ask parents and students to do is get a copy of their unofficial transcript. The transcript is what colleges will actually look at and see in order to make a decision from an academic perspective on your child. They don't see report cards. They don't see assessments. They don't see progress reports. There's so many cases in which parents have been obviously getting report cards all this time. They have an idea of how their child has done in high school, but when they see the transcript, and that's the actual summary of what their child has done, they're surprised by it. Transcripts are different from report cards. You get report cards maybe 3 times a year. You get different progress reports, midterm, etc. A transcript has at maximum 2 grades for that academic year, depending on how your school does it. There are some schools that will give you just 1 grade, which is a summary of everything your child has done in that grade. There are some that will give you it broken into 2 semesters. And they will give you semester 1 and semester 2 for the grade for each course the child has done. What do colleges look at? They look at your last 4 years of high school prior to starting college. So different education systems have different ways of classifying high school students. The US system classifies 9 to 12 as high school. The British system, which the Caribbean system is created off of, classifies high school as first form to 5th form with an optional 6th form. And this is where now parents have to have conversations with their child. And this is where sometimes it gets tough because we have some students who might not want to do this optional 6th form program. But we're going to talk about why it's not so optional and why establishing strategy is really important early. So the grade equivalent of a US grade 9 is a British 4th form, a Caribbean 4th form. So colleges are looking at every single grade from 4th or presented on the transcript from 4th form and up, assuming your child does 2 years of 6th form. The reason why 6th form is a very good idea in most cases is this. For Canada, if you don't have CAPE, you can't apply to university. You have to apply to college, which is the equivalent of community college. If you, similar situation in the UK, if you don't have A levels, you can't apply at all to most university programs. You have to start at like a junior university foundation year. So there's no direct admission if you don't have advanced courses. For US schools, you will be able to find schools that will take CSEC only. They'll take you without those 2 years, without advanced courses, but those schools are not going to be as generous with financial aid and scholarships usually. And they are not, you are not going to be as competitive even for admission to those same schools versus students who have more advanced coursework. Is everybody following me? Can I get a yes in the chat? Is everybody, that's just the basic, simple explanation. Again, we have a lot of pushback coming from students on this. They're very anxious to start their grown-up lives, and we totally get that. But we're just letting you know the reality of what sixth form means now. I don't call it an optional program. For me, for students, it's a must do. It also gives them a chance to mature further. As parents, we know these days, based on what they might encounter in college, what they might have to deal with, different situations, etc., nobody is going to argue with an extra 2 years to mature a bit more. The other reason why these advanced courses are a really good idea is because they also increase your chances of success while being a student. So I've had students who have, you know, been like, I have to go to college after 1 year of sixth form. They're so anxious. And then when they go, they're like, oh, if I had done unit 2, I wouldn't have to be in this remedial course. If I had done unit 2 of this math, then I wouldn't have to be doing extra tutoring, which costs parents more money and then cramps their style of what they want to do on campus. I remember in this case, this was a footballer who, because he was studying business and he didn't stay for the CAPE math. Then when he went to college, all his friends were living their best lives because, of course, they have more advanced courses relative to him. And he's the one stuck in tutoring, remedial work. So, you know, it can also put students in jeopardy in real ways, not just in missing out on social life and athletics, but there are a lot of scholarships that are conditional on a student maintaining a certain GPA. And if they go to the university behind on coursework, of course, it's going to be harder for them to maintain that GPA. You might get parents, you might get a call from them, because of course, by this time they're adults and the school isn't sending you their report. But you might get, because you are paying the bill, a call from them saying, I'm in danger of losing my scholarship, or I'm going to lose my scholarship. And none of us want those kind of calls, right, parents? So very important to really stress this. Now, this is a decision that you have to think about in June. As we know, applications to sixth form need to be processed, decisions need to be made, and a lot of schools, their sixth form programs fill up very quickly, and they ask you for extremely early indications on whether you would intend to be in their sixth form program, even before the CAPE results are out, okay? So it's just important to establish that kind of plan. Now, the other thing that's really important is to be thinking about the types of CAPE courses or advanced courses that the student is going to take when it comes to sixth form or junior year. Junior year, grade 11, is the most important year, hands down, for college admissions purposes. This is the last complete year of you colleges will see before they make a decision on your profile. So the rigor of your course load here and your performance is, of course, extremely important. So again, you want to have in mind a general strategy, general plan, general direction, because you will need to take certain prerequisite subjects, perhaps for certain types of majors. And if you don't take those subjects, don't take them at the appropriate level, then you're not able to apply at all. For example, if you want to do computer science in Canada and you don't have advanced math or CAPE math, you can't do it, right? There are some students who will want to do a CAPE math in the fall. They didn't do AdMath. They can enroll in a summer AdMath course, get ahead, and then make a case to the school that they should be allowed to enroll in advanced. Same thing with our boarding school students or students on a US curriculum. They can engage in a summer course, which will put them ahead to be able to select that advanced course they might want in grade 11. And if they don't do that kind of work during the summer, when grade 11 comes, the school just tell them, well, you can't get that course because you're not prepared to do it. So it's really important in the month of June to know these kind of things, because if your child needs to do something to kind of qualify for the courses that they want to take at the advanced level, then that's work that happens this summer. So as we say, we know that everybody wants to summer right now, but these are serious college prep years if you are serious. So this is the conversation where we give our students personality tests. We're talking to them about different interests and majors and that sort of thing, so that there's some kind of direction that can be established. Speaking of summer, the summers are very important, and you have to stack really great summers in order to stand out in the application process. So this is where the discussion around hook starts to happen, and hook strategy. This is why I'm happy to see some people who are in this webinar who are 3 years out from admission, 4 years out from admission, because that's how you actually build. The more time you have is the better and easier it is to build a compelling hook. The truth is that although we spend a lot of time on the academic piece of this process, there is also the non-academic piece. That is, if you want to get in and get scholarships at more competitive universities, and not even that competitive. The minute I tell students, the minute you want a lot of scholarship or aid, you are automatically in a super competitive process. So school might not be competitive, but for you, you're in a competitive pool. If you want that out of US universities, if you want those flagship scholarships out of the Canadian schools that do give them, then the grades have to be taken care of. That's the first thing. But the standout factor outside of academics becomes really key. We have students, and we see them all the time, with 1,500 odd SATs, all one straight A profile, and they don't get into certain schools because for those schools, those kind of applicants are a dime a dozen. Meaning, of course, it's the starting point, and it's really great. But after they look at the academics and say, love those academics, but what is this child going to really bring to our campus? What's their thing? And different students need different kind of support to establish their thing and to take their thing to that next level where it really stands out. So we do have a list of different summer programs. We're building it, adding to it all the time. We help our students to identify outside of the list that we publish free, because we try to give free resources at every single turn. But of course, if you're a student of AIM, we're working with you personally to identify programs that are fit, etc. So there are programs that are still open for students to get registered and to do. Sometimes we have, depending on the profile of the student, we have them start their own activity, their own service activity, building on an interest that they already have. We once had a student who was a programmer, computer programmer, and she built an app to help her high school digitize their library. It was amazing. And she did tons of volunteer work with her school's library in order to get their collections digitized. It was an amazing hook. And of course, her interest was programming and computer science. So we're not talking about doing random things to, pad the profile or try to look good. or just being a member of 10 different clubs and saying, oh, as long as they're listed on my report card. It's not about that. It's about real impact and real service tied to an existing area of interest so that a college can immediately see, this is a person of impact. Colleges really want to see and admit students who they can predict that after taking advantage of the resources at their schools, they will go out into the world and have some kind of impact. And then, of course, say, I'm a graduate of so-and-so institution, which only helps to build their brand. So the same way we are looking for things from a college, like scholarships or admission or whatever education for our children, it's the same way they are looking at each applicant for what is in it for me. And you have to, especially if you want money, you have to be able to make that case in a really compelling way, not by writing in an essay what you're going to do, but by showing the college already what you've done. And what you've done over a period of time is really important. Again, this is why we have an AIM Early program that's working with students from grade 8 and up, because when you establish consistency over time, that's even more compelling. And then there is scope to build whatever your hook is and project into something huge. So again, I know 2027 parents think that they have time, and some parents think that, you know, and students think, oh, I'll just do the SAT and fill out this app. But that's the past. Maybe that was when, like, your parents were applying to college, or, you know, like our parents were applying to college. Even when I was applying to college, which was not too long ago, 2002, what am I saying? I was applying to college 23 great years ago. I was matriculating to college. I was applying to college more like 24, 25 years ago. It was, you needed a hook. You needed to start, like, you needed a hook. Mine was youth development, youth activism. I was doing lots of speaking and working with different NGOs, and that was sort of my hook. My hook was not academic, even though I was fine, but I was not gonna be that person, you know, doing 6 capes all ones with a 1550 SAT. That was not me. But I had, you know, the grades were good, strong, and I had a hook that was compelling. And that's how I got a scholarship from Princeton. It's even harder now. So again, this is not about just filling out an application. This is about establishing a unique value proposition. And that kind of thing is done and built over time. All right. So we just touched on the SAT. So I want to talk about that for a minute. The SAT is no longer optional if you want a scholarship. I don't care what the school says. As long as the school doesn't say they're test blind, these days in this admission climate, you are doing the SAT, okay? I know we all want to go to heaven with our eyes closed, but that's not how it works. If it was that easy, think about it. Like somebody with a high SAT score versus somebody with a not high SAT score or no SAT at all. If the college is looking at it, you're not going to be able to compete against that person. That person has one thing over you. And let me tell you, with what's happening in the US right now, with the Chinese students and the Hong Kong nationality students, those are students that pay full tuition, full room and board, make donations. They contribute a great deal to the bottom line of our college budget. And colleges are losing those kids because they're not getting approved for student visas. We have a Chinese nationality student who was rejected for a student visa. That's our only rejected student. What does that mean? The college budgets are impacted. What can we expect when the college bottom line are impacted? They're looking for more students that are going to pay in full. So if you want any money out of them, you can't just be like, well, I'm just, this is optional, that's optional, and they're just gonna take me for me because I'm so great. That's not how it works. You have to actually pull out all the stops, okay? SATs, not optional. Now, what's your timeline going to look like? We highly recommend that students starting college in 2027 should be starting SAT prep this July. They should be doing, and we have a July College Gateway program that starts July 27. They should start in July and do their first sitting in October. After that, they'll get a detailed score report. They can take a breather. We have some students who do it again in December. And then we have some students who do it again in March. No. There are some students who March is close to their CAPE exam and they really don't want to interfere, jeopardize. They need to, different students are different. So we have students who do it again in March and they're fine and they're able to still do very well in CAPE, etc. We have some students who are like too close, whatever, they'll resit in December, okay, of 2025. Between the October and December sitting, it is highly recommended that using the students' detailed score report from the first exam, they zero in only on the topics that they need to in one area, because super score means you can take the highest score from verbal, mix that with the highest score from math, but it can be on different test dates. So they do the first sitting and then they say, okay, you know what, between October and December, I'm going to zero in on math. These are the topics I know I need to work on. And they zero in and they go back and they're focusing on math and they make the math extremely strong. And then the next sitting might be, okay, I'm focusing on verbal. And you get those up. Now, what's the utility of having a high SAT score even before January? It's called summer programs, okay? There are summer programs that are competitive, that give full scholarships, that build a college resume like no other. When you drop that on your college app, it's a wow. It's like an immediate booster. It is a scholarship magnet, and they ask for SAT scores. And if your SAT score is high by the time you're applying to these programs in January, this is huge. It's huge. Now, are SATs still required for students that want to study in Canada? No. If you're on the CAPE curriculum, no. But if you plan to apply only to Canada, I just want to make sure that you plan, your budget can accommodate what Canadian schools cost for, well, if you're non-Canadian. If you're Canadian, the tuition is normally under 10,000 Canadian a year, which is incredible for the quality of school. I mean, incredible. And then the room and board might be about $15,000. So you may be looking at a yearly cost of $25,000 if you are Canadian. If you're not Canadian, you're looking at 40, 50, 60, even 70,000 US a year. I repeat, if your decision is to apply only to Canada, please make sure you have the budget to support it. Most people that apply only to Canada end up not going anywhere because they will get admitted to the school and cannot pay for it. Canada does not give out the type of money to the number of students that the universities in the US do. They have scholarships, but they're a handful and they're choosing like one or two people from a whole country to give that money to. Have we had students get money for Canada? Absolutely. It's actually been increasing over the past 3 years, which is great. But the full rides are few. If you have half the money, depending on where you're applying, it can possibly work. So applying to Canada is a function of budget. That's why you see no matter what's happening in the US and, you know, no matter how onerous the process is and the SAT and all this, you still have people, no matter what, that they are going to be applying to the US anyway, just because of the cost factor. So we have a lot of students who say, I'm only applying to Canada. I just want to make sure you can write the check. We're good. We can help you find the right schools. It's a much easier process. We have a lot of kids who do it that way. We love it. It's really much more straightforward. The admissions are conditional on your exam results. You just need to get the grades they asked for. We love it. And we have lots of Canadian kids and we love Canada, okay? Big fan. My sister went to Canada. 3 degrees out of Canada. She's a doctor. So we love Canada. We endorse Canada. The only issue we have is when students think they're just going to get a full scholarship out of Canada just like that. That's not how Canada works. So that's really important to know. Okay, so we have discussed grades. We have talked about hook, which is so important. We've talked about timeline for standardized testing. I took you all the way up to March. So the hope is that by March, you have 2 sittings of the SAT. Normally at the March point, we have students just kind of, and we recommend that they just stop and focus entirely on school so they end the year strong with a strong transcript. There are a lot of people who think, I just need to do well in the SAT and forget about school. No, that's not how it goes. I just need to do well in the SAT. My grades don't matter that much. College, US colleges won't look at CAPE that much, or they won't care about, they do. You can't just pop out with a high SAT score and mediocre grades and think that that's going to like get you. You have to have both, right? And the grades in school and your external exam results in school are of pivotal importance, okay? So I just really, really want to disabuse parents and students of the notion that SAT is more important than in-school grades. It is not. And we ran out of space for our June class. Normally, we're able to extend registration for June for a week. We are able to have students join late, etc. This year, we completely ran out of space and had to turn students back. We had to turn students back this year, which doesn't normally happen for the June College Gateway. So if you need to be in the July Gateway, that's prepping for the October sitting, you need to register now. The advantage of registering now is that you also get an extended payment plan. It's $1,150. It includes all the SAT coursework, the progress report meetings, and then as a bonus, you get a bunch of college application support. So this is for students who are going into lower six. What am I saying? This is students starting college in 2027, students who have just completed CXC, or who have just completed the 10th grade in the US and they're rising juniors. So you're a rising lower six or rising junior, you should be in the July class. Again, it's going to give you all the SAT stuff, but it's also going to give you things like college lists for maximum financial aid. It's going to give you live sessions with college counselors, teaching you how to do the Canadian applications, teaching you how to do the UK apps, how to do the US apps. So it's a global gateway, and this is just all as a bonus to doing the SAT class, okay? So you can definitely enroll in that, and Cornell will share his telephone number so that you can just WhatsApp him if you're interested. And again, the advantage of doing that now is that you get an extended payment arrangement, so it doesn't feel as onerous, okay? So again, I just want to emphasize that having a high SAT score is going to be an advantage this year more than ever, especially with these schools facing budget tightening due to this Chinese Hong Kong situation that's unfolding before our very eyes. Now, the other reason it's good to have a strong SAT score early is because you're able to establish a college list, a concrete college list early. A concrete college list is really important because you want to be able to demonstrate interest in the colleges that you're interested in. That also helps you to get a leg up. I'm talking about establishing contact with a rep. When the rep visits your school or visits your country, you're able to go and, have conversations with that person. They get to know you over time. You're able to, again, do summer programs in support of your overall goal. It's really, really key to have this. Now, what if this is where we can get into a little bit of the 2026 timeline. So once the March sitting is over for the SAT, we like for students to focus on their end of year exams, focus on their CAPE. If you're doing the IB curriculum, this is where, you have IB predicted scores exams that you have to do. Once the summer comes, you should be off on summer programs. If you are going into lower 6 or your junior year, grade 11 in September, you prep for the SAT this summer. You can't tell a college, what did you do for the summer? Oh, I was prepping for the SAT. They don't care. You're supposed to like get that SAT score by magic. Next summer, you need to be doing something really compelling and competitive. You need to be doing a high-level internship, be doing some high-level program, you need to be executing your own project. You need to, like, SAT is not a summer program for you. You know, if you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice. But that's the point of having this conversation when you have 16 months. So you can plan ahead. And so, again, we recommend that students who are in the class of 2027, who now need to do a third sitting of the SAT based on their goals, etc. We highly recommend 3 sittings. They can then do the August sitting and start tutoring one-on-one, maybe 4 to 5 weeks ahead of that test date, which is at the end of August. So basically, you would be prepping for the SAT like end of July. That's compatible with most summer programs. That's not going to destroy the whole summer. And then if you have, once you have that high SAT score by August, then you can start putting in applications. You have all, you request all your recommendations, you know exactly where you're going, where you're applying. You can apply to multiple schools by October 15th, qualify for multiple different scholarship opportunities by October 15th. You are in the early pool. There are going to be more people needing scholarships than ever before this year, and there's less money. You have to get to the money early. You just do. You don't want to get to the money late. This is class of 2026. I'm speaking to you. That's why the June gateway, I think, filled up so quickly, because I think we did a good job of communicating to parents and students like, look, you need to get to that money early. So if you're not doing the August SAT, what are you even doing? So for 2027 students, we're saying that too. But we're saying that by the time you do August, that should be a third and final sitting where you're going to just, your super score gets built. My stepdaughter increased her SAT score by 500 points on the same plan. You see, like how you're doing the SAT tutoring and class over the span of like a little over a year. You start in July and your final sitting is next year, August, but it's not like you're doing it constantly. That's what she did. Score increase over 500 points. That's how you max your SAT score. You don't max your SAT score by last minute, by just doing a one class and you think that is over. For some students, that is. Pick up you, that was never me. Some students will have, they do the class one time and it's 1550. Great, bless them. But for other students, it takes a lot of muscle and you need to know where you fall. Okay, so once you have the SAT out of the way, and you've talked about your hook and you have applied to summer programs, and you're off having this fantastic summer, then you want to think about deadlines. I talked to you about the first deadline. That's October 15th. Those October 15th are also deadlines for UK medicine programs. Again, full budget required, okay? UK is not giving you, they don't have, again, University College of London is a great school. They have 16 scholarships for all their international students. I'm not saying you can't get it. I'm saying only 16 students around the world are going to get it. So you can't hinge a whole plan on getting a scholarship from UCL, for example. Same thing with most of these UK schools. It's not a lot of scholarships. So you want to plan full budget on those. And again, we have lots of parents and students who that's their case and they're planning full budget on it. And that's great. You're not going to have to do the SAT, but you're going to have to do entrance exams. For law, there are some UK schools that require a standardized test called the LNAT. So right now, we have a few, we had about 5 students apply and are going to law school in the UK last year alone. And this year we have more. So again, those deadlines tend to come up early. And for medical school, as I said, October 15th, and you have to do an entrance exam for that one. Please forgive me. The name of the entrance exam is slipping me right now, but I know we have students who are actively prepping for it right now because we have students applying directly to UK Med. that's an October 15th deadline. So there's specific standardized tests you have to prep for and do. And those tests you do in September, and then the deadline is October, mid-October. So again, you're not prepping for SAT, but you're starting to prep for those tests the minute that CAPE is over, the minute that A-level Unit 1, AS Level 1 is over, the minute that you're done your AP exams, if you're on a US curriculum, you're straight into prepping for those exams. What UK schools like to see, do we have any UK applicants in this? Also, this is our recording, so I'm going to talk about it anyway. UK applicants, UK schools want to see that a student has experience in the major or professional field they're going into. They're more pre-professionally focused. So if you're going into med school, you need to have some kind of experience, you know, in that kind of environment, a clinical environment, etc., that would say to the school, okay, yes, this student is serious and they know why they're applying to this program. Same thing with engineering, same thing with law, etc. So that is what happens for the UK. Again, I want to emphasize that UK and Canadian admissions are conditional on final results. So if you're predicted to get all ones, you're admitted to a program based on getting all ones, and then you don't get all ones, they rescind the admission, okay? So your admission is not guaranteed until the final grades are in from upper sixth or senior year, okay? All right. By when should you have a college list? That's really important. A working college list you should have by March of the year your applications are due. So if you're a 2026 student, you should have had some kind of a list by March of this year. If you don't, that's fine. You can have it in June. It gets revised once your external exam grades are out. Once you have SAT scores coming in, there's revisions that take place, but you need to be having a working college list for sure now. If you're in the class of 2027, as I said, next year, March, is when you want to have a working college list. When do you start the Common App? The Common App for 2026 students, we having our students start that now, because it doesn't technically open till August 1, but they roll over a lot of the information. And so it's advisable to start. College essays, those are things that we are now working with our students on. So if you are in the class of 2026, this is what we call your summer sprint. You need to have a college list. You need to be working on college essays. There's not a lot of time, but you can enhance your hook very quickly over the next 4 months with some tangible results. Those are also things we coach our students to do. So, you know, establishing what's my unique value proposition here? What is this application going to be sort of centered around? And then finding different ways and different opportunities now to take any activities you've already done to that next level, or I would recommend building on something, not necessarily starting something new, because you only have 4 months and then you don't want it to look like, oh, you're just trying to pad resumes here. We have our artificial intelligence summer bootcamp with Microsoft. Cornell can tell you more about that and get you registered as well for that. That is for students who are in grades 8 to 11. So that's not if you're in the class of 2026, it wouldn't apply to you. But I just want to mention that for the parents who are here with younger children. Let me just run over. Let me give you back a sort of timeline recap on your 2027 plan. So, you know, don't get me wrong. We know that you just did major external exams. If you're, you know, CSEC, you know, school, you want to sort of register. You want to sort of relax. That's okay. Our College Gateway program doesn't even start till July the 27th. Okay, so you You could do an initial consultation at, let's say, the beginning of July and start to put all these factors together. So you could literally get 2 more weeks off to just summer. But there are steps you need to take now. So having that initial consultation, filling out that free quiz, seeing where you are, starting to kind of bring your college application plan into some kind of shape. Again, the gateway starts July 27th. We just had to turn away students for the June gateway. We are taking registration now. I think Cornell shared his information. We're happy to facilitate you. Parents, you get all kind of payment plans. And you start now, and it's way less stressful. You start next summer, and then you're rushing. And we know what happens with rush. We're stressed as parents. The student is stressed. The relationship gets stressed. We spend more money, and we get less of a result. There is no reason to start late. We have a one-on-one college advising program, and we build in a price incentive to start early by allowing 2027 students to pay the same. We don't charge more. For the cost of the program is the same if you spend 2 years in the program and if you spend 1 year in the program. We don't charge more. We want you to join the program 1 year early because it makes our job easier and it makes your job easier and you get better results. Everybody wins. A whole year of college advising that is basically free. That's what we do. It's an incentive. So we penalize late starts because everything gets harder. And we incentivize early starts because everything is easier. And you're going to find this throughout. If you wait, you're going to just spend more money. You're going to spend more money on college advising. You're going to spend more money on the college or university you send your child to because you never had the time to build out the proper profile. I mean, I can't explain how important this is. I'm not 100% sure on the numbers that we have left in the July class, but I know that students have started to register, parents are starting to register. They're really getting the memo that this is not the year to wait, and we really don't want to have to be in a position to turn back parents and students again. All right, so you have the gateway. We'll be talking to students in the gateway about, looking for different summer opportunities. That's coaching that we give them. Again, you would want to have done your initial consultation, so you're figuring out your hook and how you're going to further your hook and different things that you can do to stand out in the process. Then you're looking at what are your course selections for lower 6/junior year, the most important year, hands down, for college admission. Then by October, you're doing your first SAT exam. You get back the result. You might resit in December or position yourself to resit in March. By November and December, you are applying to identifying and applying to summer programs. Again, that's one-on-one support we give in our college advisory program. By January, you're submitting these applications. By February, March, you're finding out if you're admitted or not. And if you're not applying to a summer program, you're designing your summer with your counselor to further your hook, etc. And then you might be resitting, doing some tutoring, resitting SAT in March. And then you're focusing on external exams for the rest of that year. And then as soon as June, before your apps are due. So if you are in June and your apps are due in October, June is when you start to work on your college essay. June is when you finalize your college list, more or less, because by that time you have a relatively stable and final SAT score. We're just waiting to see what the external exam results are. What does the final grade 11 transcript look like? If the grade 11 transcript is strong and the SATs are strong, then you're applying early everywhere, and that gives you the best shot. If your grade 11 shaky and you need to show an upward trajectory for your grade 12, you might not be applying early. Okay, that's a decision you can analyze and make with your counselor, but it doesn't make sense to apply early if your profile is not strong. All right. By October 15th, you're submitting applications. There are some that might be due November 1st. There's some that might be due November 15th. And then So between all this time, you're finalizing college essays, etc. If you're working on your college essay in June, your college essay should be final by August. God bless the colleges. For the first time this year, they've started releasing supplements already. And this is because they know that students need to be applying earlier based on what's going on. So most schools know, I saw Miami released their their supplementary application questions last week. A bunch of schools, every week more schools release. That means you can be working on your Common App essay and your supplements now. That means by the time you go back to school in August or September, all of the application work can be done and you can literally hit submit. This year we had a student who was admitted to college in August. We kid you not. Admitted. She has known where she's going to college since August, which sounds like a dream because all of a sudden, your senior year, your upper six, there is no stress involved. This is the kind of pathway you can create for yourself if you just start now and observe the timeline that we are recommending. All right, now let me share Cornell's number with you in case you want to ask any questions about specific programs or to do any other signups that I told you are available to you. Does anybody have any questions? Is there anything that you feel uncertain about? Feel like I haven't covered things you weren't sure about? Anything at all? Anything else timeline-wise that we can help you with? Looks like I've been very thorough in a very short period of time. As I promised, you are, as a part of like your bonus or your thing from this session, you're gonna get a printout of what I've said by month, and you can literally stick it on your fridge. I love things that I can just see and stick on my fridge. And that way you don't miss any key decision dates or timelines or things like that. Okay, the college essay. What is the common application? All right, great. And you can also use the Q&A box. So the college essay is a requirement for most universities. It's about 600 words, and it can even be topic of your choice. They give you different topics, but the last topic is topic of your choice. So normally we just help students to create something that's really unique to them. So most of our students end up with topic of their choice. And we have essay coaches and so on that work with students one-on-one to help them to create compelling essays in their voice. Again, remember I spoke about a compelling college application as something that sells a unique value proposition for your child, right? And that's what the essay supports. So it's like a way for colleges to get to know the child outside of the grades and so on. And they have all kind of ChatGPT detectors now that will tell if the student actually wrote this or if they use ChatGPT. And then when they find that ChatGPT is who wrote the essay, that kills the essay altogether. And I say this because we have to be saying this to our students, because sometimes even when they have us helping them, because we are making them do the work, they go to ChatGPT to try and shortcut it. And as soon as we read it, we're like, you did not write this. This is definitely ChatGPT. This is not what we're doing, okay? So it's a statement required by colleges. What's the Common App? The Common App is an application system portal that most colleges use. So you fill it out once at the colleges you want to apply to. The colleges will ask specific questions, each of them, but there's a main section where you fill out, your biodata info, your education history, your family history, all these kind of different things. And that you do that once and it will go to, let's say if you're applying to 10 schools, it will go to all those schools. Once you pay each school individually about $75 to $100 for their application fee, of course. All right, so I've answered that. You touch sixth form. Are you saying you recommend for the child to go to sixth form? I absolutely unequivocally recommend that your child go to sixth form. And I think we are going to pull out the edit of this video, please, Cornell and Sharika, that speaks to the exact reasons why we recommend sixth form. This is a highly controversial area every single year. We absolutely recommend it. The results are better in every way, not just in admissions, in scholarships, but also in how the student performs in college. Okay, Camille, to confirm, a 2027 student that's starting SAT classes in July would have their first sitting in October 2025. That is correct, Camille, 100% correct. Can a student do this prep along with the Gateway program that starts in July? Yes, the SAT class is part of the Gateway program. So it's one price for both things included, which we think is completely extraordinary. I mean, you can't find better value anywhere. And we've meticulously designed it to be, incredible support, because a student doesn't just need a high SAT score for the purpose of getting a high SAT score. They're using that SAT score as a means to an end. And that end is to get in and to get scholarships and to go to where they need to go. So we're very proud of the Gateway. So yes, and you can sign up for it now by just, WhatsApping Cornell and making sure you get in early. As I said, it's filling up, and this year is unprecedented really in terms of what we saw for our June Gateway. And so based on the registration that's happening already for July, we really expect to see the same. Where SAT was optional one time, it's not optional this year because you have to be even more competitive. Thank you, never knew that. We are happy to be able to give you information that you never knew, Karen. Thank you. Yes, we're gonna send you a PDF of just, what the 16-month timeline that we talked about, but just know that right now, the thing to do is to get registered for the July College Gateway. And if you are in the class of 2026, you would want to be starting to do essays and so on. And we do provide support for essays, for review of your Common App, for, we call it the a la carte program, because our one-on-one college advising program for 2026 is closed now, but we have a la carte where you could get essay bundle support with an essay coach. You could have an application plan and a list developed for you. You could have a Common App review and a strategic financial plan, but those are sold out. Maybe we'll be able to open one or two, but right now it's sold out. But you can do those other things if you're in the class of 2026 as a la carte. So I wish I knew how to send a file through this, but Cornell will definitely be able to tell you more about the a la carte program for the class of 2026, because our full advisory program for 2026 is now closed. It is open for 2027 though. So that is something that you could look at. I'm happy that you made a ton of notes, but you want to make sure it's captured. You are a parent just like me. I'm like, I want to make sure I got it all right. Yes, I agree. Yes, did a timeline schedule myself. So you want to make sure you're right on track. Yes. And I think it's useful that, you were able to develop that timeline on your own in this session, and then you will get the other timeline, because some of the things I said wouldn't apply to you. So if you're not applying to UK, then you're clearly not looking at, the LNAT, for example. So I think it's just great. When is payment due for the October sitting and the cost, please? Cornell, can we get some information on that? It's I can tell you it's $1,150, and the payment plans now Cornell can speak to. In order to register, you have to make a first payment. But the payment can be split into various installments depending on which payment plan you choose. So Cornell is gonna copy and paste into this chat to tell you how that works. And again, if you're in the class of 2028, 2029, I know that there's some parents here who really, the AI program that we're doing with Microsoft this summer is also going to help students to be able to create and launch entrepreneurial endeavors, businesses. You're going to be able to pitch business ideas and learn how to use AI to do that. And also, it really just spans across industry, because we know that right now, our kids need to understand how to use AI, or else they're going to just be getting used by AI. And I don't know about you, but when I think about my kids' future, I want them to have every advantage. And AI is a part of our world now. So I think that's a hugely important program. We're really excited to partner with Microsoft on it. So we'll also be giving you more information on that. Okay. I think those are all the questions I saw. We'll send you the recording as well of this session so that you would be able to look at everything that we talked about. We spoke about extracurricular activities already as well in terms of developing the hook, etc. The Microsoft program is $500 US. And then we're also going to be introducing kids as early as 13 to AI certifications, that Microsoft AI certifications they can actually work on now. And so before the summer ends, they can be AI certified. They can have specific AI certifications from Microsoft, which I can't explain to you. Can you imagine applying for a summer internship or a summer program with AI certifications by Microsoft already on your resume? We're about that life. Like, we want to put kids at the cutting edge, and it doesn't matter if you're interested in tech or artistry or music, or it doesn't matter, because AI is everywhere. So we see this as a program for every single student, for sure. Jennifer, I think it's really important for your child to be doing extracurriculars that support their interests. And sometimes students don't quite know what they're interested in. That's why we do the personality assessment work with our kids. And we can definitely, if that's what you're interested in, let Cornell know, and we can let you know how we do that, especially if you're in the class of 2027. We have a lot of, we have space in our one-on-one programs. So we can definitely do that. And then out of that, we'll make extracurricular activity recommendations. But as I was telling our student just this year, no, sorry, I lost my train of thought. Not just this year, just today, it's about impact, not about just being in an activity. So what have you done in that activity? How have you established leadership initiatives, and how does it tie into your overall unique value proposition and narrative of the application? So even extracurriculars are a strategic decision. And so that's the conversation you can be having with a counselor, can book an initial consultation to do this, etc. Okay. All right. Any other questions? We have kept it brief. We have answered all the questions. We are sending you an outline, and we want to thank you so much for joining us this evening. And we hope that you have a great rest of your evening, and hope that you're clearer on what you need to do and when. And please know that we are available to you as a resource, and you can, WhatsApp us and email us and just let us know what you need, and we'll be happy to get you where you need to go. Thank you, Crystal. Crystal says, thank you so much. I've loved these webinars the last few weeks, and we have been so excited to deliver them, truly. So thank you so much for just letting us know that. We're happy to know that it's appreciated. And we just think that no more than ever, parents just need the right information as early as possible, so we can just move through this thing without panic and without stress. Thank you, Karen. Karen says this session has been very, very enlightening and impactful. So thank you so much for that. This is exactly the intention, and we're glad we have served that. And we're happy to see the 2028 parents in here for sure. We're excited to help you aim early. So thank you. As we said, Cornell is available for about 30 minutes after this session. So if you need to do anything, in WhatsApp him, get signed up for anything, then you can certainly do that right now. Send him a WhatsApp. And if you want him to give you a call tomorrow, he can also do that. So take good care. We're happy to walk you through this process. And parents, we just need things to not be stressful. Okay. That's just where I am as a parent. Like, help me. Tell me what I need to do and help me do it. And we're excited to be able to do that for you. So you can reach Cornell for anything AIM related. Tamika says she's happy to let her teen know sixth form is almost. Parents, I know how hard it is because these kids think they know everything. I'm not kidding. You have to give them concrete facts and evidence. I'd be like, actually, no. And this is why I do sessions for parents, because there are too many parents who have come to us after the fact and say, but this is what my child told me. And it's very easy when we're busy, we're overwhelmed, we have other kids, we have all these other things dealing with. You know, if our child come to us with a story that sounds like they know what they're talking about, you know, we'll go along with it. And sometimes we don't realize until it's too late that they were not properly informed. So I really think it's important for parents to get the right information, because kids will always come with information they think is correct and they're very convinced. And they just think they know more than us as parents. And that's a fact. It's a Gen Z reality. So very happy. We'll be sending out the recording to your email tomorrow. So no worries about the recording, Dejane. And you can, can I reach you for anything? You can reach the AIM team, so you can reach Cornell or Sharika for anything AIM related. If you book a consultation, you can have an hour with a consultant. If your child is in a college advising one-on-one program, there is advisory work that I do with those students. All right. Bye, everybody. Take good care. Thank you.